Hello and welcome to another Quick Flicks recap. In this 1995 sci-fi action classic, the world is in great danger. More importantly, barely clothed girls are falling from the sky, and we learn what the fifth element is. We start off by looking at Earth from outer space. I know, a flat earther would point out, it's all CGI. But you can call it a fantasy movie and still enjoy it, right? It's the year 1914 in Egypt, and a couple of archaeologists are working to read drawings on a temple wall. It's about the four elements: water, fire, earth, and air. They are around a fifth one. It seems they have uncovered secrets they are not allowed to know. Something that can quickly be resolved with water that is poisoned. The priest of the temple tells them, let's toast to your discovery. But the archaeologist throws away the water, because it's not like they're in the middle of the desert, and says, we need wine to toast. Their celebration is interrupted by the landing of a spaceship next to the temple, from which several giant robots, known as the Montesivan, step out to greet them. One of them tells the priest, the stones are no longer safe here on Earth because World War I is about to start. They then proceed to open a hidden door. Within the hidden chamber, they pick up 4 stones and a statue containing the fifth element. The Montesivan then tell the priest that in 300 years, when evil will return, then so shall we. The old archaeologist fainted and is lying on the floor, but the young one assumes the worst. He proceeds to fire his gun. It has no effect on the thick armor of the Montesivan, but it does make the door close. The alien is too slow, but is able to give the key to the priest. The priest is now entrusted to guard the key and the temple's secret for another 300 years, until the aliens return. We then jump 300 years into the future aboard a human spaceship. They are analyzing a mysterious giant black ball. The president of the Federated Territories wants to know all they know. General Steddard answers the president, we only know that it keeps getting bigger. This is priest Vito Cornelius, expert of astrophenomenon and knower of the secrets of the temple. He tells the president the ball has a high intelligence and is best described as the ultimate evil. Shooting it will only make it stronger, because evil begets evil. The general replies, shoot first, questions later, so he fires multiple missiles at it, which only makes it grow by 200%. The general, out of options, starts staring like a deer in the headlights, as if the ball is entering his mind and paralyzes him with fear. The ball then proceeds to consume the spaceship. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Korben Dallas, a former Special Forces soldier for the Federated Army, is getting ready to drive his taxi. He is talking to an old army buddy named Finger, who is also known as Vin Diesel, about needing to bring his cab in for servicing. Korben opens the door to grab his mail. He is greeted by a mugger pointing a fancy machine gun at him. However, Korben is extremely unimpressed and robs the man of his gun instead. He gets into his cab, which happens to be a flying car. Apparently, religion is really making a comeback in the future, seeing the priest is still giving advice to the president. Vito explains the Montesivan have in their possession a weapon to defeat the evil ball. 4 elements surrounding a supreme being, also known as the fifth element. It will fire a beam of light called the light of creation. If not, it's game over for planet Earth. Right on cue, just as Vito finishes his story, a Montesivan spaceship enters Earth's region of space. However, the president tells Vito, we no longer require your services, and we will let the military deal with it instead. Moments later, the Montesivan spaceship is shut down by other spaceships piloted by aliens called the Mangalores. They then proceed to call Mr. Sorg, CEO of Sorg Industries, to tell him, mission accomplished, we will deliver the goods in a few hours. This walking fashion show is the equivalent of your basic MS Bill. Instead of manipulating people to take experimental jabs, his aim is to end the planet, all in the name of profit. Luckily, something aboard the Montesivan spaceship survived the crash, or at least partially. It was then brought back to Earth. It has 200,000 DNA memogroups, while humans only have 40 memogroups. They used a plot device to bring it back to life. All the men there are very pleased with the result, and they believe it's best to have a few pictures for research purposes, of course. They dress her in thermal bandages. This is Leeloo. She is the fifth element. As she wakes up bewildered, she starts speaking in the divine language. The men all keep looking at her like she's a monkey in a zoo, and pretty soon, most of them will be spanking their own monkey. Despite the reinforced glass, she is able to break free, and then jumps through the same aluminium foil used on the Apollo 11 lunar lander. The lab is now on full alert, and the police are sent out to catch her. She makes it outside of the building only to find herself high up in the sky, and a police car quickly gets her in their sights. So she decides to jump off. She lands in Korben's taxi. Korben shows concern for her well-being and asks if she is okay. Leeloo, a real chatterbox, speaks rapidly, leaving Korben, just like all men, with no idea what this woman is talking about. He does, however, understand the words big bada boom. While you viewers need to get your mind out of the gutter, Korben thinks she's talking about her crashing into his cab, but she's actually talking about the giant ball moving towards Earth. The police just caught up with Leeloo. Korben plans to hand her over to them, but Leeloo learns the words please help me. And as my grandmother used to say to me, a woman's vajayjay pulls harder than 10 horses, so Korben flees from the cops. The cops ask for backup, but some of their colleagues are at the McDrive, and from the looks of it, in the future Hooters and McDonald's have merged. Seeing the cops go all out, including firing on them, he decides to dive into traffic. While they are hiding, Leeloo tells him just before she faints that she needs to find priest Vito Cornelius. Korben carries her to see Vito. Vito first thinks they want to get married, but then he examines her tattoo and realizes she is in fact the fifth element. He then goes limp. If I had that response to beautiful women, I would have probably been a priest as well. Vito explains to Korben. She speaks in the divine language. This is David, by the way. He is the priest's understudy, and he is next to useless. Korben learned from Snow White how to wake up a girl. It works, but Leeloo says in her own language, never without my permission. While Leeloo is aiming a gun at Korben, Vito walks in and shows Leeloo that the temple key has been kept safe for 300 years. He then proceeds to show Korben to the door. So Korben decides to go back to his place and gets a call from Finger, wanting to know what happened to his cab. Korben explains that an angel fell from the sky and that he's practically in love with her. Meanwhile, Leeloo is learning English faster than ChatGPT, catching up on current events, seeing she has been asleep for the last 5,000 years. Leeloo explains the case with the 4 stones representing the 4 elements have been stolen. The Mangalores have a meeting with Zorg. Besides being warriors, the Mangalores also are shapeshifters. Zorg shows them the ZF-1, it's the gun version of the Swiss Army knife. The agreement was 4 crates of ZF-1s in exchange for 4 stones, but the briefcase is empty. Zorg angrily explains 0 stones means 0 crates of weapons. The Mangalores disagree with this deal, seeing they did blow up a spaceship. Reluctantly, Zorg decides to leave them with 1 crate. However, the Mangalores did forget to ask about the red button. Leeloo explains that the Guardians gave the stones to someone they could trust, currently located on a planet Floyston. That makeup box is the greatest invention since sliced bread, as it ensures women only show up 2 hours late instead of 3 for a date. Zorg believes that Vito might know the location of the stones, so instructs his goons to pick him up to question him. During their meeting, Vito tells Zorg, "You're pure evil." Zorg explains that he's actually a force for good, because broken glass means work, and jobs means money. Money allows people to afford to have kids, so destruction means life. He begins to eat a cherry and starts choking on it. After trying every button without success, Vito saves his life by patting him on his back, causing him to spit out the cherry. Somewhat reluctantly, Zorg in turn spares Vito's life. I guess God does work in mysterious ways. This is Zorg's secretary, by the way. She plays no meaningful role in the story, but there's at least 2 good reasons why I want to mention her. The president requests an update, but he is unaware that Zorg's main goon is using a bug to spy on him. General Monroe informs him that the Montesivan entrusted the stones to a diva named Plava Laguna. She will be singing at the Fluston Paradise. The president wants this to be a discreet operation. He wants General Monroe's best man to go undercover. Korben is sitting in his own apartment enjoying a meal. The cook tells him, "You have a message," but he doesn't want to open it, believing it will be more bad news. The cook bets him, "It will be good news. If it's bad, your lunch is free." So Korben decides to open it. It reads, "You are fired." His mother then calls to inform him that he has just won a trip for 2 aboard the cruise ship, the Fluston Paradise. In fact, it has been broadcasted on the radio for more than an hour. While his mother continues to nag him, Monroe rings the doorbell. He tells Korben, "You have just been selected for a mission to save the world." Korben has been selected because of his long list of qualifications. Plus, he's the only living member of an elite unit, which he quit 6 months ago. Monroe explains he rigged a radio contest and Major Iceborg will be his date. Korben is not in the mood to rejoin the military, To complicate matters even further, Leeloo now rings the doorbell. Korben panics and tells the military to hide. So reluctantly, they hide. Leeloo brought Vito. They are at Korben's place because Vito needs the tickets to the Floston Paradise. Things are getting even more hectic as a police control shows up, so Korben tells Leeloo to hide in a space that could easily fit 3 people. However, he forces Vito to hide in a cramped space. Then the police shows up to grab Korben, but because his neighbor is a loudmouth, he gets arrested instead. It was Mr. Zork who gave the police a false complaint, all in order to steal Korben's ticket as well. Seriously? Even Mr. Moneybags wants to steal Korben's ticket? Last but not least, the Mangalore show up to steal the prisoner from the police, because they falsely assume the police just captured Korben, and they also want to use Korben's tickets, because they want to steal the stones to sell to Zork. Leeloo got all wet while hiding. This distracts Korben. A few seconds later, and this distraction would have sent Vito to meet his maker. While Leeloo rinses out her clothes, Korben, not being a peeping Tom, turns his back. However, at this moment, Vito takes the opportunity to knock him out and steal the tickets. When Korben wakes up, he frees the general and his men. I know they don't look alive, but they are. Korben tells these popsicles he will take the mission and then rushes to the airfield. Korben is able to take back his ticket from David, and Leeloo will be his +1. David informs Vito of his failure to board the spaceship. In response, Vito decides to board the ship himself and sends David to go to the temple. Moments later, the Mangalores in shapeshifted form show up claiming to be Korben Dallas, but Korben and Leeloo have already boarded the spaceplane. A few moments after that, Zork's main henchman also tries his luck, pretending to be Korben. Obviously, this fails as well. In frustration, he hits the glass. Security clearly informs him that that's not allowed. The vacation prize comes with a meet and greet with famous radio host Ruby Rod. He is a real Jar Jar Binks. Strangely enough, he is a real ladies' man. Korben tells Leeloo, whose English is already quite good, that he is here to protect her. However, Leeloo disagrees, stating, "No, I am the 5th element, the supreme being. I will protect you." Zork is a little disappointed in his henchman not getting aboard, so he decides to fire him. How did that bomb get there? Don't ask questions. Explosions are cool. Zork then gets a call from the ultimate evil, via the satellites it absorbed, requesting an update about the 4 stones. It shows its power and reach by dripping syrup all over Zork's forehead. It's not just about profit anymore. Zork's life is also on the line. The spaceship takes off to fly to its destination. It then proceeds to dock with the Floston Paradise. Korben wakes up to see that Leeloo already left. Vito made it aboard as well, but his trip was a bit less comfortable. Sometime later, the diva Plava Laguna arrives. One of her employees tells Leeloo she will give her the stones after the concert. Korben wants to enjoy the diva singing, which will be difficult, seeing Jar Jar Binks keeps bothering him. The Mangalore sneaked aboard as well and infiltrated the ship's crew using their shape-shifting ability. The diva's performance is beautiful, either that or they handed out Fisherman's Friend. During the opera, Zork himself is able to dock with the Floston Paradise by claiming his ship needs repairs. The Mangalores broke into the diva's suite to find the stones. Leeloo hears all of this and shows off her combat skills and takes them all out with great ease. Zork walks in just after and holds Leeloo at gunpoint. She is forced to throw the case at him, which gives her just enough time to escape into the air ducts. Zork then fires a barrage of bullets at the air ducts, barely missing Leeloo. The other Mangalores hear all of this and decide to turn their stealth mission into a guns-blazing assault. They storm into the concert hall, causing panic and mayhem. Bullets are flying everywhere, and one of them hits the diva in the process. Apparently Zork has bombs lying around everywhere in the galaxy, seeing he decides to set one off in 20 minutes. Zork then proceeds to leave with the 4 stones, or so he thinks. The diva tells Korben with her final breath to give the stones to Leeloo, and give her your help and your love, because maybe she's a supreme being, but she's also fragile. She also tells Korben, the stones are inside of me. You don't have to tell an alpha male like Korben that twice, so he starts poking around inside of her and pulls out 4 stones. Just look at the size of those things. Are you telling me she had those in her prison wallet? This blue lady could literally bricks. Korben tells Jar Jar to guard the stones with his life, while he then proceeds on going on a deletion spree. But those alien bulldogs are not messing around either. Bullets and even rockets are flying everywhere, and Jar Jar is doing his best to do a Looney Tunes impression. Korben explains to the head of security that the Mangalores will not fight without their leader, and then he proceeds to take out the leader. Korben then proceeds to find Leeloo using the security cameras. It seems that Zork did manage to hit Leeloo a couple of times. With only 5 minutes on the countdown, the ship's bomb detector finally sets off its alarm sound. Everyone, including our heroes and Jar Jar Binks, evacuate, then with great haste. Zork, on the other hand, decides to come back, which in turn provides our heroes a perfectly fine spaceship to fly back with to Earth. Zork turns off the bomb with just 5 seconds to spare, but one of the Mangalores, who is about to meet his maker, decides to turn it back on again. We do have to give Jar Jar some credit, because he never stopped broadcasting his radio show during this whole ordeal. Leeloo, while badly hurt, says, "Humans are so strange, everything they build, they use to destroy." One of them, aka the president, is already toasting to a victory, but then is informed that the ball is still moving towards Earth at great speed. Korben, in no mood for flowery words, tells the president, "Get to the point," and then gets the bad news: the ball will hit Earth in less than 2 hours. Leeloo, despite being very weak, wants to learn more and types in the word war. The cruelty of war brings her to tears. As our heroes race against the clock, upon arriving at the temple, Korben, with no time to rest, carries the badly hurt Leeloo to the center of the temple. Now they still have to figure out how to turn the fifth element into a weapon. But Leeloo is too weak to talk, so she cannot explain how to activate her. Luckily, it's actually pretty simple. Even David can figure out how the stones work. Wind blows, earth on earth, water on water, and a match to create fire. This is only possible because people stopped vaping and started smoking again in the future. Korben wakes up Leeloo, but Leeloo tells him, "What is the use of saving humans when all they do is war?" Korben tells her, "But there is good in us as well." But Leeloo doesn't know love. She was only built to protect. Korben then tells her, "That's not true. I need you. I love you." And seals the deal with a kiss. This makes Leeloo shoot out a light ray that stops the ball dead in its tracks. In fact, it becomes the Earth's second moon. I gotta say, turning a woman into a Squirtle Pokemon is quite a feature, but Korben's kissing ability is set to God mode. Sometime later, the president shows up to the lab where Leeloo was reconstructed to congratulate Leeloo and Korben. It seems though they are otherwise entangled, because it turns out the plot device is also a plowing device. And for those of you wanting to call Leeloo names, please remember, her box was locked inside of a box for 5,000 years, so cut the girl some slack, okay? Moral of the story? Leeloo's outfit makes for a nice Halloween costume.